Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on Fantasy Football Scout. Today I'm going to show you my Game Week 6 team selection. Also show you how my Game Week 5 team is going on. Gianni, Matty, Cash, let's get straight into it. How are we getting on?
Oh, mate, I was so happy for you. I actually fist pumped the air when his shot went in. It was such a bad. I mean, it was a good shot. It was such a bad effort by the goalkeeper. It was right down the middle. But when you cut across the ball like that, obviously you see so much movement and yeah, difficult for the keeper, but one you expect him to save. But yeah, mate. I mean, why did you bring in Matty Cash? What was your thinking there? Did you just think he was going to score a 20-yard screamer, or is it just a fixtures play? What is he, 4.5?
Yeah, 4.5 Matty Cash. So, just to note for anyone who is listening, we are recording this with 5 minutes to go in the Villa game and 5 minutes to go in the Newcastle game. And also it's before, of course, the Manchester City versus Arsenal game. So just keep a note of that. Again, we're all eyes on the Villa game. Gianni has it in front of him, I believe. Let's go straight into my team for Game Week 5 and make it a small bit easier. So, in front of you, I have my Game Week 5 team. Currently on 60 points. A rank of 63,000 in the world.
Oh my god. That is amazing.
Oh my god, I thought Matty Cash is... he almost had another. Gianni, he was this close.
He was inches at the back post, wasn't he?
Oh my god.
He comes in at the back post. We're 92nd minute. It was him and Ollie Watkins both waiting for it and both just missed it. Could have been either of them that taps it in. And it would have been a winner. It's 1-1.
So close off another return. Anyway, to keep it going.
Yeah. No, it was so close, really close.
We're currently on 60 points, like I said. We're having a smashing week. For me, I had 2 decisions going into this game week. Well, 3. What to do with Dubravka and Sanchez. This decision became easy with me as I was going to confidently captain Bruno Fernandes and thankfully 20-pointer for Bruno. So that was a 7-point swing between Sanchez and Dubravka. Of course, Bruno captain instead of Mo Salah, who I don't own, for 7 million cheaper, which went my way this week. I thought this was going to be a week where I'd be trying to survive. Fortunately enough, it was quite the opposite, and I've divided my rank by almost 6, which is ridiculous. So far so good anyway. The week is not over, and I've only got Erling Haaland to play.
What do you mean only? What do you mean only got Erling Haaland? Are you kidding me? You're probably going to get an even more green. You only own Erling Haaland. Oh, I know, you're absolutely laugh. Oh, Villa, how have they missed that? It's Ollie Watkins with seconds left, a header from 2 yards out, saved by the keeper. Oh, he was offside anyway, but he still missed it. Anyway, back to your team. Mate, phenomenal setup. Players like Kudus just coming in big, like those 7 are big. Nico Williams. You've had goals from Nico Williams and Matty Cash. That's mad.
Yeah, so like I was saying, the decision for me was to get rid of Murillo, who I was looking at. I'm on Wildcard 8, which is a small bit different to other people. That's the first thing to know. This game week, I am absolutely flying.
To that?
Yeah, and you'll see my team is going great for myself. So far, so good. And the triple captain is indeed active. So to get rid of Murillo was the easiest decision for me, with him likely being out. I didn't want to take a risk starting Esteve or Goodmanson, and I easily could have. Instead, I decided to bring in the boy Matty Cash, who's got Sunderland, of course, right now. He's got Fulham at home and Burnley at home. For me, I wanted to pick up a Villa defender, and I decided to be a bit more aggressive, going with the most attacking one. It was an easy decision for me in terms of which one I wanted to go for. The
centre-backs don't get DEFCON anyway at Villa, do they?
Exactly.
If you go Conor or Mings, they're not great for DEFCON.
Exactly, and Cash has picked up DEFCON once already this season, so so he's not even too bad on the DEFCON. And for me, he's always been a decent FPL asset. There was a season I remember where he was phenomenal before we all flocked him out in Game Week 8, I think it was, a time ago. But yeah, so that was the decision of Matty Cash. Did I expect him to score a worldly? I don't think anyone can expect things like that. But you have to make your luck, and I got fortunate today. Yeah, let's be real.
Luck of the Irish, mate.
Absolutely. So, I mean, great game week, and I have Erling Haaland to play in place.
Only.
Yeah, only Erling Haaland. Hoping for an Arsenal clean sheet wipeout. I mean, that would be phenomenal. And hopefully break into the top 50k. So, amazing game week so far. again, standouts for me, Nico Williams, quite lucky with the goal. Bruno Fernandes, who I was confident going into Chelsea. That decision for me was down to the fact that Chelsea haven't largely been tested this season. They haven't played anyone in the top half of the table yet. Going to the Allianz, of course, losing midweek to Bayern Munich 3-1. Harry Kane played class, and travelling back, players like Pedro and Palmer, I didn't expect to get more than 75. Of course, Pedro played great
full-time
minutes.
Bournemouth Newcastle. Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to give you that update. So yeah, locked in. Semenyo gets DEFCON. So does Senesi. Bonus is there's a fair few on 28-29. Carry on, mate.
Very close, very close. Interesting. I wonder how that affects
full-time rank. Also at Villa Sunderland, as I say that 1-1.
It's like Sky Sports on here. Deadline.
I used to do watch-alongs on Scout, so it feels like this is like 6 minutes of a watch-along, 34 minutes of your team selection.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So yeah, I was confident going into this. It's hard to say confident and United in the same sentence, but I did expect United to score, and I thought their output going forward has been quite good. The numbers have been there for United, bar the City game. And they just haven't converted. Players like Brian Mbeumo, who are picking up decent numbers on a week-to-week basis, who have also got my own team, and players like Bruno, who we know can tick away nicely. No DEFCON, unfortunately, but 3 bonus points and a goal. And to be honest, could have had much more if it wasn't for Casemiro being silly. But again, hindsight is a beautiful thing, and I thought United played well in general. What did you make of that game, Gianni? And can you understand the decision-making?
It's so hard to analyse a football match where there's a red card in the first 5 minutes. Like, we very easily could be talking about a Bruno blank and a Chelsea 2-0 win without the red card. Maybe not. Like, fair play, Man United. You beat the team in front of you. As soon as it went down to 10 men each, though, it was only... Like, Chelsea was so much better than Man United in the second half, and it was 10 versus 10. So, yeah, I mean, I'd argue Bruno owners and cappers got lucky with the fact that they were playing against 10 men, but you've got to make your own luck, as you say. And Sanchez, I mean, what a stupid decision. There's no doubt about it. It's a straight red. It's foolish. And Maresca comes out after the game and says, I would have preferred him just to let him round him and score. I'd rather go 1-0 down after 5 minutes than go down to 10 men after 5 minutes. And I thought, oh, okay, is this you telling us how annoyed you are at the goalkeeper? And maybe actually Sanchez is going to see some more rotation than we think. Because there's not much between Sanchez and Jorgensen. They're both pretty bloody average, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree. On that point, so if Sanchez doesn't wipe out Mbeumo likely gets the goal, who have also got, like you said, game state changed due to the red card. But to be honest, in that first half, I think Bruno could have had more. Again, that's just me. And I thought United, within the first few minutes before the red card, I thought they looked quite sharp. They were all over you. Again, it would have completely changed the game, and as soon as that red card did happen, I agree. Chelsea looked back in it. What did you make of the subs, Gianni? Of course, Cole Palmer, I don't think it was meant to be a sub. It was more an injury. But in general, taking off all the boys, what did you make of it?
Yeah, it was definitely an injury for Cole Palmer. But yeah, I was gutted when I saw Estaviao starting, and I was like, oh, this is loads of fun. But it just didn't happen. But it just shows what a red card changes the game. Like, you've got to set up completely differently. And Chelsea did, but they were still poor first half. But as I say, when it goes to 10 versus 10, it's so Chelsea. I thought we might go and get the draw, but wasn't to be. But look, if you own Brian Mbeumo, you're looking at him each game going, you're going to get goals. If you own Bruno, you're looking at him thinking you're winning. If you're on Wildcard, how many Man United players do you pick? I would argue still only Bruno. If I was on Wildcard, I think it would just be Bruno only. I mean, where would you go on Wildcard right now? Just Bruno?
Yeah, so I actually have a Wildcard video coming out soon enough. And it's interesting you say that because I've gone with Mbeumo over Bruno. Now, Bruno is going to tick away nicely. There's no doubt about that. But for me, if I was on Wildcard, I would really want to attack these game weeks. Brentford away for United in Mbeumo's old club. Maybe there's something in that. Sunderland at home. You'd fancy Acuna or Mbeumo in an easier fixture. Now, not to say Sunderland are a pushover by any means. Another result versus Villa, and they've been quite good this season. But again, United can score goals against any team, even though they've been poor this season. I still think they're creating enough chances for me to go with some of their options. So I don't mind Mbeumo for 1 million less. Again, he is 1 million less, so I try to keep that in mind. But yeah, I can understand if you don't go with either. I mean, maybe Bruno owners have been quite lucky with the delayed penalty so far. And it was a tap-in that he scored, but happy with the United boys. I mean, considering there's no midweek fixtures for United.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no midweek fixtures massive. You can't. And same for teams like Bournemouth. Like we've seen today, Bournemouth looking really, really good against Newcastle. The difference between Newcastle have to go into that game and rest probably, 5 or 6 that you would picture in the first 11 at Newcastle? Probably not in that 11 today, because Champions League takes it out of you, especially then when you've got to go to an away trip down to the South Coast, like a long journey there for Newcastle, and they need to rotate their squads. So you just don't see the best version of Newcastle, but you still see the best version, as you would expect, of Bournemouth, because you had a full week on the training ground. And that's what makes players like Senesi and Semenyo so good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, I've had a great week this week. But like I said on free hit, the strategy of free hit was that I was quite confident going into 5, 6, and 7 without having to do too much with my own team. So I managed to survive no Salah this week. And I did tweet about it. I was delighted with that. And then the week just seemed to get better and better. So that was the game week 5 score. Again, still Erling Haaland to play. Hopefully he can not just into that top 50k. Let's see if it's possible, lads. Let's move on to the real fun. And that is my game week 6 team. It only gets better. Let me pull it up real quick for you. 1 second.
So just to clarify, when you're doing that, Chai, you're definitely not on. Let's just talk chips, because you're definitely not on free hit, because that's a popular move for many this week. But if you're not on, you're not on Wildcard. If you're not on Wildcard, it opens up the door for something that I think you're probably going to be doing, right? And that's something that I think I'm also going to be doing, and that is triple captain.
Yes, so the triple captain in front of you is currently active on the big brout. Let me run through the team real quick. On goal, we've got Robert Sanchez currently, who can serve his suspension midweek. I believe, Gianni, if I'm not wrong about that.
He can, but I'm not sure if he's going to be Chelsea's number 1 for long. But yeah, I hear you.
Exactly.
He can. He's not suspended for game week 6.
3 at the back in, Matty Cash, Porro, Williams. 5 in midfield, Rogers, Gakpo, Kudus, Mbeumo, and Fernandez. And 2 up top with Haaland with the triple captaincy versus Burnley at home, and Watkins versus Fulham. Now, after this Villa game, we're probably looking at 2 things straight away in this team. Watkins and Rogers. How long more do they have in my team? They've been more than terrible with the price points they're coming in at. And also, it doesn't look like Villa are going to be getting any better anytime soon. And they also have some midweek games come before that Burnley at home fixture in game week 7. So I'm unsure where I'm at with those two, to be honest. If you're asking me now, I think I'll definitely be holding on to them for Burnley. And that's just the type of manager I am. I'm more than happy to wait for the fixtures before getting rid of him on Wildcard 8. Other than that, 2.5 million and 1 free transfer. It leaves me in a great position considering I'm not on Wildcard. What do you think of the team first, Gianni, before I go break down some of my moves?
Yeah, I mean, you've got 2.5 million in the bank and 1 free transfer, so everyone should be bearing, I guess, that in mind. And no one's saying Chai thinks Watkins and Rogers are great. It's just it. And if you're on Wildcard, I'm guessing you'd be going without. But you're not on Wildcard, and you've only got 1 free transfer. So it's very different judging a player who's being held than it is being sold. So I'm with you. Like, I'm probably going to be keeping Ollie Watkins. I am going to be keeping Ollie Watkins if I don't wildcard, because there's other fires, there's other priorities. At some point they'll start scoring, but yeah, are they good picks right now? No, they're not. If you're on wildcard, do you consider Villa attackers or any Villa player? I don't think you do. But yeah, I mean, you look good with that money in the bank, though. I'll be guessing that's going to a Phil Foden. Is it Gakpo to Foden, Rogers to Foden? You could do any of them to Foden. Like, is that what you're thinking? That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm well set up to do it. There's one other move that I like. Esteve up to Guardiola, perhaps, or Sanchez to Donnarumma. Again, Donnarumma a bit more boring. If Sanchez gets a start, I'd be happy. Playing Dubravka away to City, not ideal. If Sanchez misses out. I mean, getting rid of Gakpo before Crystal Palace, I don't love. To be honest, I would love to hold on to Gakpo this week. So I'm unsure if I want to go to something a bit more aggressive with Foden ahead of Burnley at home. We'll have to see him today. And I agree with Mr. T in chat. He says Rodgers might get dropped. Man, Villa genuinely look like they're playing some championship players.
They do, but Rodgers does not get dropped. Emery loves him too much. Like, he just won't drop Rodgers. It'll play in. There's a world in which he doesn't play Rodgers as the number 10, and he moves him out wide left, and then Elliott comes in as the 10. That's what we saw for 15 minutes today. But Rodgers doesn't get dropped.
He was just absolutely woeful, Gianni, though. Like, he was.
Yeah, he was, but that's not Unai Emery. Like, whoever said that is thinking like they're managing the team. They're not. Unai Emery's managing the team. And if you need to tap into how ironic I'm saying this, because Unai Emery doesn't put new signings straight in quite often. And here I am having bought Harvey Elliott 2 weeks ago and then been punished for that. But Unai Emery has his boys. And I promise you, Morgan Rodgers is starting next week if fit.
Sweet, that's exactly what I need to be hearing, because I want to hold on to him as music to my ears. But yeah, I think it would be, if anywhere to make way because of that Burnley at home fixture, it would be Gakpo, because they play Chelsea, I believe, next game week. And Crystal Palace is not an easy game, even for Liverpool. Again, we've seen them in the Community Shield. So Gakpo to Foden, I love. Guardiola for Esteve or Sanchez to Donnarumma. I don't think I'm in any rush to even make a transfer, though, to be honest. I could alternatively roll this game week. I don't think that would be too much hassle, Gianni. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you can definitely roll, man. Definitely roll. I just know you, though. You'll see Foden versus Burnley, and knowing you've got the money to get there, you'll be very tempted. I personally would get rid of Rodgers to Foden. Or Gakpo to Foden. I wouldn't want to sell Kudus or the Man United mids, but it depends. Your decisions now are going to be reflective of your wildcard plan, potentially, but are you 100% fixed on wildcard 8? And are you going to be playing FPL for the next week or two, knowing you're wildcarding in 8 or not? Because that affects if you make a transfer this week, for example. Are you 100% or what percentage are you?
Yeah, I would say I'm 95%. That was the reason I'm bringing in Matty Cash. I don't want Matty Cash in game week 8 with the likes of who do they have? They have City, Liverpool, Bournemouth. That is not me at all. I'd love to get rid of him. But then again, it makes me think bringing in a City player if I don't wildcard to potentially have with Everton at home. If I do an Esteve to a Guardiola, I could bench a Matty Cash in 8, for example. Spurs fixtures aren't the worst. Again, Williams not ideal. Double United you mightn't want, but to keep myself flexible, I could do that because it's always nice to have options.
So Chai, can we just chat wildcard for a minute, because there's a lot watching that will be wildcarding in 6 or maybe even open to wildcarding in 8. So, and look, first, if you are watching, do help Fantasy Football Scout out by thinking about hitting that like button today. That really helps the algorithm. Why are you wildcarding in 8? Who are the players you're looking to target? And have you looked at other windows? If so, which ones?
Yeah, so why would I wildcard in game week 8? Let me quickly pull up my team for 8 because I have it in front of me. Give me 2 seconds. It's more so the fixtures and how they line up with my own team in 8. So in game week 8, again, you won't see it in front of you, but I'll just talk it out. In 8, I would have double United with Liverpool away. Triple Villa versus Tottenham away. Nico Williams with Chelsea at home. And Spurs with Villa at home. I mean, it's not great, and I feel like I'll be missing out on triple Arsenal, double defence and Gyökeres. Some of the fixtures swing also for even Liverpool if I wanted to bring in Gakpo or Salah with United at home. They have Brentford, Villa and City, which not a lot of people will be doing. And also the fixtures are quite good for the likes of a Strand Larson if I wanted to go there. So it'll be a step ahead of those wildcarding in 6, I hope, because people will be bringing in Haaland, who I have now, and my team is decently set up. In game week 7, my team is almost like a free hit team, so I couldn't wildcard out the likes of a Rodgers with Burnley at home in 7, the 2 United boys with Sunderland at home, and double Spurs with Leeds away, and triple Villa with Burnley at home. So the team is so nicely set up for 7. It almost makes sense to just do it in 8. and then start fresh. See what the trends are. And in 8, I feel like we'll have enough data to start choosing some of our picks based on the season so far, and go with some assets that a lot of people are going with.
Yeah, I like that. Mate, I'm the reason I'm asking you because it's of interest to me. I don't have a similar looking team to you, but I think we just like to maybe play the game similarly in terms of going against the template. I'm also looking at Wildcard 8 for the reasons you've said. It gets us on Arsenal. Neither of us have Arsenal, but it also allows us to maybe have a little bit more fun between now and then, which I think many will see the attraction of. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, that swing, because every wildcard window there is, and I mean that by every game week, you see a wildcard team that was made for game week 5. It's very different to a wildcard team that's made for 6. It will be very different by 7, just because the landscape changes so fast in FPL. Are you worried though, by going in 8, we're both going to miss out on a couple of key price rises for players? Maybe like the Arsenal lads, we might miss out on some of those DEFCON beasts at centre back, but like, you know, I have Senesi, but you don't. He's going to be going up in price. Anderson the same, like good 4.5 million defenders that have been of high interest.
Yeah, for sure. But I might miss out on price rises, but I might gain with such good fixtures in 7. The guys, anyone wildcarding this week won't have double United, triple Villa, double Spurs. So I'm hoping I'm picking up the points in the difference of price changes, which I'm more than happy to do. Information and points, hopefully, over the price changes. Again, I think this week you're going to see almost everyone wildcard, because almost everyone has Salah. I'm not seeing too many people not wildcarding, which is mad, because if you hadn't done it last week, you're most likely doing it this week.
A lot of wildcarding, and I think there's a little bit of groupthink that it's safe to ditch Salah and go to Haaland, and because everyone's favourite content creator is doing that, many will agree. But ordinarily, when you talk to the average FPL manager and you say you're about to sell Mo Salah, who's 50% owned, you would have a reaction of, whoa, that's super risky. But because there's groupthink around Game Week 6 wildcard and loads of content creators are doing it, there's a comfort in that. And I'm not saying that that's a criticism or that's right or that's wrong. It could well be the optimal call. But it's funny, ordinarily, so many would be nervous about selling Salah. No one's nervous about doing it now because their favourite content creators also selling him. I do agree you need Haaland in your team in Game Week 6. And if selling Salah is your route there, fair enough. But there'll be some that maybe try and wildcard with both. Have you seen that, chat, Chai? I've not. From those wildcarding, because they want the Semenyos and the Brunos of this world, and the Gyökereses, right? That sort of 7.5 to 10 million price point, it's very difficult to therefore produce a team that has Haaland and Salah in, as well as big at the back for Arsenal and Gyökeres and Semenyo and Bruno. But if you were wildcarding, would you be open to that, Salah and Haaland?
Yeah, so I think absolutely. I think
because that's what I'm doing. Just to lay it out there, that's what my team looks like going into Game Week 6. No wildcard, but Salah and Haaland.
Yeah, so I think this is why I love wildcard 8. Come Game Week 8, the landscape might change. Suddenly, in 7, Salah gets a brace versus Crystal Palace. Isaac is in and he's unlocking Salah. You know, it's just something small. Game Week 8, I could bring in Salah while everyone's just got rid of him. Captain versus United. I mean, that would be something. And there would be some marginal gain because everyone will have Haaland. And I think doubling up is definitely a viable strategy. Come Game Week 12, 13, 14, you go through that spell of fixtures for Liverpool and City. In 13, Liverpool play West Ham. City play Leeds. 14, you have Liverpool versus Sunderland. City play Fulham. And in 15, it's Liverpool versus Leeds and City versus Sunderland. So I imagine there's going to be a world where we want to double up on these guys. Unless you're going to go with a strategy of going with 2 Liverpool assets that are not Salah and Erling Haaland, or vice versa. Going with a Phil Foden if he's cemented in the team, and going with Salah. And perhaps bringing in a Marmoush also. Again, we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think we're in a position where we can, you know, use the wildcard in Game Week 6 and not have to worry about it. And be aggressive with the transfers. Just because with the double chip setup this season. And also the 5 free transfers for AFCON in Game Week 16. So I'm more than happy to be aggressive with my moves. And I think using my wildcard in between halfway point of game week 16 and the start of the season in game week 8 is a nice balance. I'll have 8 weeks to mess around with only one free transfer each week, and in 16 get all 5 back.
Yes. Just trying to work out what game week 16 looks like, because you only get 5 free transfers if you've got no transfers in the bank. So you need to make sure you've spent all your transfers around game week 15, and then game week 16 you get 5 free if you've got 0 in the bank. What happens if you wildcard? I've not thought about that. Like if you wildcard in 15, you would then have no free. Let's say you dead end in 14, wildcard 15, 16, you then get 5 free transfers off the back of wildcard. It allows you then, when you wildcard in 15, to effectively go for like loads of 1 week punts. Don't know, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's fun. I don't think there'll be any hassle in game week 15 using up the transfers with Leeds and Sunderland for the 2 best attacks in the league. But yeah, playing a chip though, that would be something, all right. And also, when Salah goes off in game week 16, Arsenal assets open up. They've got Wolves straight away in game week 16. And Newcastle have Sunderland. So the fixtures will be there for offloading Salah for sure.
Could you get the 5 free transfers and then hit the wildcard button? And then carry those 5 after the wildcard? I don't know. I need to ask Mark.
Absolutely. This question. I don't see why not.
Because the 5 free transfers are going to drop into your team on the Saturday morning, aren't they? Or Friday, as soon as the deadline passes. The 5 free transfers should be available. If you then decide to wildcard later that day, you've still got 5 after the wildcard, which allows you that week to have, if you want, 5 1-week punts. I mean, not that you'd probably do that, but
yeah, imagine that.
Just thinking, I'm not sold on wildcard 8. Like I don't think I'm wildcarding in 6, but I don't think I'm wildcarding 8 either. I'm thinking, could it be really powerful to leave it? I don't know.
Yeah, and then you get your wildcard back in game week, 19-20.
Yeah, but you might want that for 33 or 4 or 5 around the doubles, but yeah.
Yeah,
FPL Mackham says, Gianni talking about my plan. Okay, Mackham, this is the first time I've thought about it. So let us know in the chat because I don't know the exact dates and game weeks of 5 free transfers and wildcard and what the fixtures are. Just tell us in a nutshell what your plan is, and then we can discuss it a little bit more. But yeah, Chai, let's carry on with your team, I guess.
Yeah, so I think the fixtures overall are decent for my team. Wolves, who've looked really poor this season. You have Kudus and Paro. Paro, might add, definitely one I would get rid of on wildcard. That's not to say he can't return in this fixture or the next. But for me, he's been quite poor. Spence on the bench. I don't know if he'll be consistently on the bench. I thought Destiny Adogi was phenomenal when he came in for Spurs. Just on Mohamed Kudus as well. What a player for Tottenham Hotspur. I mean,
so good.
I am on my feet every week watching Spurs now with Kudus. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he's just one of those that are absolutely magic. Probably best dribbler in the league in terms of numbers-wise, highest take-ons and successful dribbles, more than Doku. He's just missing that cutting edge in and around the box. And if you're asking me, a lot will say that he's missing that. But watching the games, he's in the right areas. The ball is just not falling to him. So I do think that he's definitely a decent asset to hold on to. Now, again, 2 assists. The assist he got could have easily been a goal if Richarlison wasn't in the way. And 2 great fixtures for Kudus. Xavi Simons on the bench, an asset a lot of people will be thrown off now with that benching. He came on with a cameo, and he was phenomenal for about half an hour.
Was he? Was he really? Amazing. I didn't know. Okay, that's good to know.
Really, really good. And if trying to take my bias out of it, wearing Lily White here, I wouldn't be put off bringing in Xavi Simons.
But you'd still go Kudus over Simons, right? Is that because that's a big question for me? I think Kudus is still the best Spurs pick given the price.
I would also go Kudus over Simons. The price and the engine on Kudus, he's more likely to get 90. Whereas if Xavi Simons starts, I think for the time being, it's likely he still get 75, 80, for example. But Kudus, I think he is a nailed 90-minute man. And he is in the right areas. I think he's probably not the best for bonus. He's so aggressive that he gets 5 fouls a game, and he loves the yellow card. But I think if he gets a goal, I think that's just what we're missing now to start talking about him a bit more. I think if he had scored this game week, he'd been a lot more wildcards. And that's just me personally. But if I was on wildcard, I'd understand if you don't go with him.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm waiting to see if Mackham has got back to us in the chat about that wildcard strategy. But so, okay, if I was to push you, mate, right now, like, what's the most likely transfer you make next week? Is it a Man City defender or a goalkeeper, or are you reacting to the game today and what we see from City? Because remember, City next week, it's no Champions League. They've got Huddersfield in the EFL Cup. You would expect no Haaland, no Foden, no Gvardiol, no Donnarumma in that fixture. The great news is they get a little bit of a rest.
If you're asking me right now what transfer I would make, I would bring in Donnarumma. For me, again, very, very boring. I don't want to get rid of any of the five in midfield, I'll be honest. I think Mbeumo and Fernandez, due to that Sunderland home fixture. And again, I never tried to disrespect Sunderland because they have showed so far that they've been great. But United are creating chances versus a lot of great teams. They even look good against Arsenal in that first game, and Mbeumo particularly, who was brilliant. So I'm more than happy to hold on to him. Gakpo, Kudus, and Rodgers. Gakpo's looked underwhelming, and now with Isak and Ekitike, Isak's not going to be on the bench for too long. And I know Slot talked about how Gakpo is their winger, but Ekitike at some points during that game versus Everton was picking up positions on the left, and he looked phenomenal. So I think Gakpo is one that could definitely be on the chopping block. Again, I'd love to bring in Foden, but let's see how it plays out today. I'm definitely all eyes on today's fixture.
Yeah, okay, nice. And let's talk triple captain then, because I don't think we need to necessarily react to watching Haaland today for triple captain or not, right? If he blanks today or if he bangs today, that's probably not going to affect our decision on triple captain. Are you likely to do it? Because I think there's a real strength to be able to have the options triple captain, knowing so many you're competing with will be on wildcard next week. That's probably why I'm going to do it, because it's just like I get to, again, do something different. And I do think Burnley are the best opposition for Haaland at home. I think it's the best fixture in a week where he gets a rest before it. It's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, exactly that. I think being able to pick up on some points where people are already playing a chip is why I'd love to do it. I might be able to have Salah and Haaland later down the line when they have easier fixtures, but I just think waiting for a fixture where you don't know if they're going to be fit, or you don't know the circumstances of these teams where the congestion starts to happen in that part of the season, I'm happy to throw it on Burnley. Haaland is on one of the best forms we've seen him. Again, probably, I'm fairly sure I've seen a stat that this is his worst start to a Premier League season. But
wow.
When you include,
and he's probably looked the best. He's, in terms of eye test, this is probably his best start to the season in terms of what we've seen.
Exactly,
right?
And I would agree with that. And in terms of when you include the international goals, like I know they only played poor opposition, but still you have to count the goals. And he's looked amazing. And I mean, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, okay. It's worth noting. Haaland does play all three newly promoted teams at home before game week 19. Salah only plays one because of AFCON before game week 19. So there will be opportunities with Salah, but the other opportunity with Haaland, say home, I think it is to Sunderland, days before that, I think he's playing Real Madrid in the Champions League. Like, this is a free midweek. I just think it's so obvious for that reason. And obviously, I feel like triple captain is going to go on Haaland or Salah against a newly promoted team. Maybe we should open up our pool, because the disrespect we give the newly promoted teams is probably unfair. We should say West Ham, Wolves also should be in consideration for those home fixtures. But Haaland versus Burnley is, I think, my preferred matchup of all the teams. Like, if you were picking a fixture, who would it be, Chai, for triple captain? Would it be Burnley?
At the start of the season, everyone would have said Sunderland.
Yeah, I know. And
now after
now, would they? I'd probably say West Ham now, actually.
Yeah, now after 5 games, you'd say West Ham or Burnley. So it's hard, because I think all three of them are equally as good. Again, it's the way these games play out versus the top teams. It's usually quite a similar story versus City, I think, in particular. It's City usually trump these teams, regardless of what form they're in. Maybe you might disagree. Oliver in chat says he's a Leeds fan. I have to say we've looked good defensively, and I'll also say Sunderland look decent. I agree. No, I don't think any of us disagree with that. But
we're not saying they're bad. We're saying they're still towards the bottom of the pile in terms of fixtures to target. There is no Luton this year, right? There is no, look at the newly promoted teams the last 2 seasons. It's a much better level this year. But of course, they're still down the bottom of the pile in terms of fixtures to target, right? We're not going to start saying, oh, we want to target Newcastle or Bournemouth. Of course, Sunderland and Leeds been better, but they're still, they're not a mid-table team yet, right?
Absolutely, the best out of a bad bunch, and that's how we have to make these picks. Again, no disrespect to
no, best of a good bunch.
Best of a good bunch. Sorry, yeah. But yeah, for me, what I think is interesting is I think if Haaland scores today, Gianni, I don't think we'll think twice about it.
No, I know. It's like if you can score against Arsenal, because no one scores against Arsenal, let's face it. Like they've conceded 1 goal from a spot side free kick all season, including the Champions League. I'm really excited by Haaland triple captain, and I'm excited you're doing it too. I can't believe, mate, congrats again. You're around, you're not far from 50k, and you've had Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins in your team since day one. That's amazing.
Yeah, can you imagine? People are slating my team. Can you imagine it wasn't Rogers or Watkins? I think we'd have...
they're slating your team, but what they need to do, and we don't do, thank God, on this stream, because otherwise you'd see my rank, but we should probably have our ranks on display, because I don't think you can slate your team if your rank's visible, because it's the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, anyway, I think... Do you know what I love about this, Gianni? Again, like you said, it's with Rogers and Watkins who have looked really poor. Mbeumo, who's got, of course, the returns versus Burnley. I've only had 2 blanks from Rogers because I brought him in game week 3, free hit in game week 4. So for me, it's actually not too bad. Again, Villa have looked really poor, but it's just less frustration. Watkins, you probably would have had a Gyökeres if you hadn't have gone Watkins, which is fair. No doubt that Gyökeres is definitely a pick now with penalties. But everyone is using Wildcard this week and have likely bench boost last game week. We haven't considered the fact that we've seen so many bench boosts this game week, and I'm still on a green arrow. I didn't think it was possible this week for my team.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I went into this game week saying if I get a grey arrow, I'm happy because I know how many have recently wildcarded or are on a bench boost. And also, I didn't like the look of my team this week. It turns out I'm currently on bang on a grey arrow. I need zero. I'm on bang on. But I don't have Haaland and I don't have Arsenal defenders. So I've got Reinders. So I'm not going to get a green arrow. But it won't be a huge damage unless Haaland goes and scores a brace. But yeah, I hear you. FPL Mackham says his wildcard window is 13 to 15. That's interesting. So he's going to get the DEFCON. He's going to get the 5 free transfers after that. But he's going to be able to pick loads of short-term picks knowing you can transfer them out. And I do like that. You can look at 5 or 6 players that you might go, I don't need to look 10 game weeks ahead. I just need to pick them because they've got 3 good games and then I can transfer them out. And I must admit, I like that time of the season for wildcard too, Mackham.
Yeah, at the start of the season, that was the window for optimal wildcards. I believe the biggest fixture swing in the season is around that area. I want to...
do it. Let's do it together. Come on.
What's that?
Let's go around 12:30. You can then go I'm going to go Isak for 3 weeks. So I'm going to there will be loads of fun with that.
I agree. But I was going to suggest something different. Wildcard in 8, like we're talking about. But bringing in, I don't know if you've played your bench boost yet, but bringing in a very stacked bench where...
I've done my bench boost, yeah.
Oh, so I still have my bench boost to play, but I was thinking of making a decent bench with 5 million options. And then come the transfers game week 16, I don't have to make more than 3 transfers. Even with the AFCON boys, because I have guys on the bench who are not going. I was thinking of something like that, and with the extra congestion this season, this is the most we've had Premier League teams in Europe. I mean, why not have a full stack bench with decent options who are going to be great for DEFCON?
Yeah, you're just going to have a headache all those weeks you're not on bench boost. But if you're happy having bench points, that's fine.
Absolutely, and play the fixtures. So that's where we're at this week, Gianni. So far, so good. Again, I'm not trying to pipe up too early because it is only getting on to game week 6, but we have to celebrate the weeks as they come, because what's the point of playing?
We're down enough when we have bad game weeks or bad results. You've got to enjoy the highs. So fair play. Absolutely.
So just to recap. Game week 5 score, 61 points, 58k in the world with Erling Haaland to play. Game week 6, the triple captain is currently active, and this is the team in front of you with 2.5 million in the bank and 1 free transfer. Planning to bring in Donnarumma so far for Sanchez. We're just after hitting the 40-minute mark, lads. I'd like to invite you to hit the subscribe button. Fantasy Football Scout is almost at 100,000 subscribers, so do hit that button if you aren't already subscribed. And on the way out, also hit that like button. Gianni, anything left to say?
No, all good. I mean, you're going to do various content this week on your channel. I'm going to drop a video tonight with my team. I've already made 2 transfers in my team, by the way. And I'm probably going to make a third tonight. I had 2 frees and then a hit. And then I can out it with the wildcard. So that's all going to be on my channel later if you fancy coming by. Everyone. Scout have got videos every day this week, including Scoutcast coming up, I think, tomorrow. So do check out all of that jazz, all of that stuff.
All right, as usual, we'll see you in the next.